Today's goal is to speak and understand 50 advanced sentences. You don't typically learn these in school or even in other English lessons. Let's do it. Just saw your message. Sorry for the delay. This means that you saw their text or their call or their email and you're letting them know that you're sorry it took you a long time to see it. Sometimes when we're really busy, we may not see our phone or we may not check our computer. So when we find the message later, we say, "Oh, I'm sorry for the delay. It's an hour early, but I wouldn't want to hold up the line." This sentence shows that you know how to use advanced vocabulary. The word line here does not mean a line of people waiting in a queue. It means a telephone line. You're calling and there could be other people who want to call and talk to that person. And so you don't want to keep that line busy if you don't need to. Mind if I voice note instead? I'm in a rush. When you're in a rush, it means that you're very busy and you need to go somewhere quickly. This is a polite way to say, "Hey, I don't have time to type out a response right now. Can I just send a voice message instead? Don't worry about it." It was just an example. If somebody says, "Oh, this is a great report you did," and then they say, "Don't worry about it," it means, "Hey, this was just an example. Don't think that I'm actually upset with you or that I'm criticizing you. It was just an easy way for me to explain my point. Let's take this to email. It's getting too long for chat." A chat could be a texting conversation, or it could be a conversation on a messaging platform. When something is getting too long, it means it's becoming too complicated, too detailed, or too extensive for that method of communication. So you can write it in an email instead. I'll put the link in the description below. People sometimes forget things. They say, "Oh, I forgot to tell you about that," or "Oh, I forgot to mention that." Instead, it's good to say, "I'll put the link in the description below." This works for YouTube videos, websites, files, and more. Feel free to reply whenever. No pressure. Here you are being kind. You're saying that you want them to respond to you, but you're not expecting an immediate answer. You're giving them permission to take their time. That sounds reasonable. This phrase shows that you're considerate. For example, if someone proposes a new idea and you like it, you can say, "That sounds reasonable." The shorter version is "That sounds good. Feel free to pass this along." It's okay if you share this information with others. Could you give me a hand with this project? To give somebody a hand means to help them. So you're saying, "Hey, can you come and assist me with this task?" On second thought, never mind. On first thought, you had one idea. Then you thought a little bit more, and now you have a second thought. Your opinion changed, and you decided that what you said before should not be said. That's out of my depth. To be out of your depth means to be too difficult or too complicated. For example, if your boss asks you a question about a topic that you don't know much about, you can say, "I'm sorry, that's out of my depth. I'm afraid I have to disagree." To disagree means to have a different opinion than someone else. We use "I'm afraid" when we want to be very polite. What's the best way to get there? 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 That would be great. 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 This looks promising. Something that looks promising is something that seems positive and likely to have a good result. Could you elaborate on that? To elaborate means to explain something in more detail. That's putting the cart before the horse. This is an idiom which means that you're doing things in the wrong order. For example, if someone says, "First I'll buy a car, then I'll look for a job," that's putting the cart before the horse. They should probably get a job first and then buy a car. That's beside the point. When something is beside the point, it means that it's not relevant, not important, not connected to the topic. We're at a crossroads here. To be at a crossroads is a figurative expression that means you're at a difficult point where you need to make an important decision. It's high time we did something about this. High time means that something should have been done a long time ago. You've got a lot on your plate. To have a lot on your plate means to have many responsibilities and tasks to do. Would you mind not doing that? This is an extremely polite way to ask someone to stop doing something that bothers you. For example, you could say, "Would you mind not chewing your food so loudly?" I must admit I haven't had much experience with that. Must admit is a formal expression that means you're acknowledging something that's true. Not to blow smoke, but you did a fantastic job. Blowing smoke is an idiom that means lying or exaggerating. Not to blow smoke means to tell the truth. That's easier said than done. This is another idiom that means something is easy to suggest, but perhaps more difficult to accomplish. As far as I'm concerned, as far as something is concerned means as far as I know, as far as I believe, as far as I'm concerned. I'm drawing a blank. Drawing a blank means that you can't remember something. I'd love to, but I can't make it. This is a polite way to say that you're not able to attend an event. We're making progress, but we're not there yet. Even native speakers love to use this phrase because it has a perfect way to describe a situation that is not finished. But it's moving in the right direction. This looks daunting. Daunting means very difficult or very challenging. That doesn't make sense. 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 I'm curious to know more. Curious is a great advanced word that you can use when you want to express interest.